Hello there. This is Jedi General of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are listening to Jedi Eternal.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jedi Eternal, a Star Wars podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Braxton Taylor, alongside Andrew the Luminous Bolin.
Wow, thank you.
I literally completely forgot to think of the word, and I just saw
Thank you so much.
your hat and just made me think of High Republic, so...
It's because I am a Jedi.
Well, anyway, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Here we are, actually on schedule. Can you believe it? We're actually on schedule to get the podcast out. So we're feeling good today. We're feeling a little froggy, and my brain is somewhere else, but Andrew is on top of it. So yeah, let's get right into this.
Well, you know, you can't always be perfect.
Well, I try. Anyway, let's get into it. So just starting off, before we get into everything that we like to get into, we always want to talk about our Patreon. So we made a post about this the other day, and we just made sure that also our link tree is updated. I don't even know that the Patreon is even on there, so we've been failing. I didn't even know. So with that being said, we're going to talk about our Patreon very, very quickly. And our Patreon has one tier, and it is only $5 a month. And with that $5, you actually get a lot of really cool things. First and foremost, if you do love Jedi Eternal and you want to get it as fast as possible, you do get the perk of early release access to anything and everything that we do post. Not just the podcast, but anything that we post. You will get access to that on Patreon first before anybody else. So if you're wanting to hear a review about a show that's coming out or a book that we're going to do and you just can't wait to get it, become a part of our Patreon and you will get that earlier than everybody else. Also, second thing, and this is a pretty big thing, right? We actually have a second podcast that we do outside of Jedi Eternal, and it's called And Other Stuff, where we like to talk about anything and everything other than Star Wars, and sometimes Star Wars comes in there a little bit too,
of course,
because it's part of our lives, you know? But we did actually just drop a fresh, brand new episode for you last week.
Actually, it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, so whenever that was. So,
but yeah, still brand new.
Still new. So yeah, we had a good time with it. The past couple has been more of just like talking about our lives, talking about things that are going on and stuff. Because there hasn't been like a ton of stuff coming out recently for us. But we have a good time, though. We talk about fun stories and different things.
Yeah, our last one was very much more like free-form conversation.
Yeah.
It was fun.
But we have stuff about free-form conversation, but we also have episodes that are like pretty much dedicated to certain topics that we talk about, like Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
We talk about Assassin's Creed on one of them.
We also do a lot of movie reviews.
Exactly.
With, when there are big releases coming out.
Yeah,
so.
Just this past one, we did actually. I just remember now. We did talk about Godzilla minus one.
We did.
So and Aquaman. So we trashed one and we praised another. So I'll let you figure out which one that is. Suspense. We won't tell you which one did we.
Shouldn't be that hard.
You have to join to figure out which one we trashed and which one we praised. So anyway, it's a good time over there. So again, that's one of the biggest perks of a $5 a month Patreon subscription. Last but not least, you do become one of what we call a Patreon producer. And as you join that tier of $5, you become a producer of ours, where we come to you first and foremost if we have any questions regarding either of our podcasts or any of our production. If we have questions on moving forward, if we want to get ideas of what to do, we come to you first as our producers. So if any of that sounds good to you, if all of that sounds good to you, please consider joining our Patreon for only $5 a month. And it helps us out working towards getting different equipment and also things that we have different subscriptions we have to pay for every year just to have this podcast, right?
Correct.
So that helps pay for that. So it's been very awesome to have this Patreon. So.
Yeah, and we want to go ahead and thank our Patreon producers right now, and that would be JB, Josh and Birkinshaw, Tara Bolin, Grace and David Gill, Alex Mason, Corey Wise, Jay Camdar, Jenna, Caleb Luna, and Alex.
Let's go.
So we have 2 Alexes now.
Whoa, 2 Alexes.
How special.
How special.
But seriously, we really do thank all of you for joining us. and it means the world to us. It helps us tremendously, and tell your friends.
Tell your friends and share it around,
Tell
baby.
your friends and your family.
Yeah, so like again, thank everybody who's part of that. But we're gonna go ahead and move on and stop beating the drum here a little bit. But as we like to do on each of our episodes now, is we like to start out with a little bit of fun facts and some trivia for those folks who listen.
Wahoo!
Wahoo! So for this week's fun fact, we draw from Star Wars: Fascinating Facts, Story, Lore, and History from the Greatest Galaxy, written by Pablo Hidalgo. So, this week's fun fact is entitled, I'm Luke Skywalker. Whoa!
Whoa! What is?
Whoa! Cut that from the record.
Are you having a stroke?
James Nod is having a stroke. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Okay. Let's start that from the top. It's entitled, I'm Luke Starkiller. I'm here to rescue you. So it says, in early drafts of the script, George Lucas planned to portray Luke Skywalker as an elderly general, but he decided that making him a teenager gave him more potential for character development. Lucas originally named this character Luke Starkiller, but on the first day of shooting, he changed it to the less violent Luke Skywalker. So, very interesting. Could you imagine, you have your character that you're about to play as Mark Hamill, you've been doing your study, you got it in your mind, you're Luke Starkiller, and then the first day of shooting, George Lucas is like, yeah, by the way, we're going to change your name. So very interesting stuff. Kind of an interesting what if, right? What if he decided to stick with that character type. So, anyway, very interesting stuff. So
very interesting.
Now, we're going to talk about the trivia question, and that trivia question is, which planet did the Death Star manage to destroy with its super laser? So I ask once more, which planet did the Death Star manage to destroy with its super laser?
Tatooine.
Spoiler alert, no. But with that being said, I don't know. I think you were serious. I think you did. But with that being said, though, guys, we will let you guys think about that. Type your answers in the comments. No cheating. And we will reveal the answer as we close out this episode. So again, hope you guys enjoy this out. This one little thing we like to add a little spice and some fun to the episode. So hope you enjoy that and let us know if you do. But this week,
shout out to Corey Wise for trying to answer on our last episode. He got it like super wrong, but so we know he didn't cheat.
Or that was a ploy. Like he's like, I'm going to put in a wrong answer.
So we know he didn't cheat. So we thank you for participating.
So yes, if you answer wrong, we will dog you live on air. No, but in all seriousness, no. Corey, we really do.
We do appreciate you interacting with it. He was the only one. He was the only one who did it.
So we're giving you special praise today, Corey.
Yes, special.
Even though you got it wrong. No, but really, we appreciate it, though. But this week in Star Wars, we're going to go over a few news pieces that we have heard over the past week or so and bring it to you. So, although we're having a great time already, let's go ahead and bring this down.
Let's go ahead and bring it down.
Some solemn news.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for the first thing is we got to talk about it, and that is Mr. Carl Weathers unfortunately passed away at age 76. Carl Weathers, a little bit of a late bloomer in the Star Wars world, but became a very big figure, especially as we saw him in The Mandalorian. He's done many other things, obviously, with a very tenured work history in the movies, right, in that world. But, of course, we know him in this context within Star Wars. But, Drew, what are your thoughts on that?
I was, of course, very upset about this. Carl Weathers is just kind of one of those like legends, right?
Like a fixture in the industry,
Yeah. And then when he joined Star Wars, it just kind of even more solidified that. He's been fantastic in The Mandalorian as Grief Karga, and of course, it's incredibly sad to lose him. But outside of that, it does make you wonder how they'll handle that character moving forward.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because, he's what, like leader of I don't remember what the name was.
Yeah, I can't remember. Now he's like
but
leader of the whole planet.
of that
now.
whole planet,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
can't
Or,
remember the name of the planet
is
either.
it the city or just the city? I can't even remember.
Maybe
now.
the city.
Yeah, but anyway, you see what I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah, he's a pretty important figure, especially as we see in season.
Yeah, and and
3.
he has spoilers if you haven't watched season 3 yet, but like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
They he gives Din and Grogu a space to live there.
Yeah.
So like, so his absence, I think, will really be noticed in the upcoming movie or season or whatever whatever else they do with that. But so I don't know if they'll try to recast it or if they'll just say he passed.
And it's tough because it's like, what do you do in that situation to honor them but also continue the story, right?
Right. And a lot of times that comes down to the family.
Yeah.
Of the deceased, if they want to allow his voice and stuff to continue to be used, or if they want to
So Mr. Weathers, we honor you and we thank you for your contributions to this universe that we love. But let us go ahead and move on to our next news piece.
Yeah, so our next one is a pretty big one. I was surprised when I read this, but it's Disney is to collaborate with Epic Games.
Uh-oh.
And they will develop new titles based on Star Wars. So, Disney has...
That was the chair. I promise that was the chair. I don't even know if they could even have heard that in the mic.
I think that would have been heard. I think they probably heard that.
I swear,
There's no way.
It's the squeaky chair. I promise.
I've never heard that chair make that noise before.
Yeah. Well,
like
I promise it was the chair.
So shocking to me. I had to stop. Like I couldn't just keep going.
I heard that. I'm like, I know that I don't know. A, I don't know if that was in the mic, and B, I know immediately what Andrew's gonna think.
I'm sorry. I was stunned by that.
That's because usually I don't have these armrests down.
I can't wait to go back.
Armrests make me gassy.
And see if they can hear that or not. Anyways, moving on. Disney has acquired a $1.5 billion equity stake in Epic Games that will allow them to work on new video games based on their mountains of intellectual property, including brands such as Star Wars, Avatar, Marvel, Pixar, Disney Animation, and more. The partnership will allow them to continue to invest in further collaborations with the flagship title of Epic Games, the ever-popular Fortnite, establishing a universe of content connected to the blockbuster game.
Wow. Yeah.
So, $1.5 billion investment into Fortnite is what it sounds like.
Which, Fortnite thus far, like, coming up to this point has been like a battle royale, right? That's been the primary thing that it is. But over the past several years, it has grown into a community-based thing where these community members can actually create levels and create game modes and stuff. And if you go to it, it's actually pretty impressive, I have to admit, with how many offerings there are.
Yeah.
And again, most of that though coming from the community. But to see some of these different offerings coming from something as big as Disney, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this.
And we know with Fortnite, they had the Battle Royale, which has been around for a while now, but they just recently added new experiences within Fortnite from Epic Games.
Sure. Yes.
And publishers that they have brought on to their team. So you have Harmonix making a Guitar Hero
knockoff
game essentially, which I just saw they're going to have actual guitars for that coming out soon.
Actual hardware.
And then you have the Rocket Racing or whatever, and then you got a Lego Fortnite, which is
basically
Minecraft,
but it's Lego.
So you have all these different experiences within there, and of course you already have collaborations with Disney in many ways, lots of Marvel characters, lots of Star Wars characters, but this seems to be something on a much bigger scale. And there's some artwork that shows almost it gives me a fantasy Disney World
Yeah,
type
yeah.
thing going on here.
I was gonna say, so I watched it when it first came out, but I had just rewatched Ready Player One last night, and it's like this literally looks like the beginnings of the Oasis, which is like this hub world that people go to in the virtual reality. I mean, because that's kind of what it looks like, right? It looks like there's going to be some sort of like main entrance, and then you can kind of turn off into all these different parks, kind of like, well, like you said, like a digital version of
it's
Disney
kind of
World.
like a Disney World type thing going on. And so, you know, they've been messing around with this idea for a long time of Fortnite becoming a metaverse, right?
Yeah,
And in a sense, it kind of already is, but like that.
A place where you can actually though just walk around and interact with things as an avatar.
As an avatar
Yeah.
and so that's, I think this acquisition is kind of like opening and expanding that door even further.
Yeah, yeah.
And honestly for me, I'm actually excited for this because it's going to open the door for more Star Wars content
Yeah.
within, and you know, whether you like or hate that, I guess, can depend on. I know you have some issues with some of the Star Wars characters being included because you can make them do silly dances and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, it's one of the only places that if I want to, I can jump in right now and play as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
True.
Or Anakin Skywalker or Luke Skywalker or, you know, like there's not very many games that I can just do that right now. And so that's what's kind of the magic of Fortnite. Or you know what? I can jump in and be Superman, one of my other favorite characters.
Yeah.
Or Captain America. Like all in the same game, I can be any of those characters.
No, I mean it does absolutely provide a very interesting opportunity to kind of apprise all of these different characters who you love, but like in your own individual way rather than actually being strictly that character. So it is interesting. I don't always love it, but I do see the appeal in it for sure. You know, I do have some concerns with this Disney Epic merger because sometimes I'm kind of like, man, it almost feels like a monopoly. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's the only concerns. Back when we were growing up, there was all of these publishers, all of these studios, all making games, and you know, I think this presents a very interesting opportunity to have such a big, well, no pun intended, epic, you know, world in which you can interact with and do cool things. And I think it's very interesting. But to me, that part of me is like, man, it just almost feels like kind of a monopoly though on the.
So what I will
world.
say, I totally understand that. What I will say is like, you know, this isn't an exclusive deal, at least from what we have seen.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, as far as we know, this isn't the other developers, publishers can use the Marvel name.
Yeah,
as far
gotcha,
as
gotcha.
It's not like this is like, okay, now only Epic has exclusive access to, which sometimes, you know, deals like that are made, but this doesn't appear to be that, because as we know, there's like a Black Panther game being worked on and a Wolverine game, and of course there's Spider-Man games, and so we know there can be other Marvel content going on at the same time. But I think for me, the thing that could be the most interesting here is if they took the Fortnite gameplay, but kind of started adding in more like actual story content.
Sure. Yeah.
Set within these worlds.
Well, so I was watching another I can't remember. It was some video. I can't remember if it was an interview or not. But it was one of those things where they was kind of we don't have the full understanding of what this will actually be. But this one guy was talking about. He's like, you know, to his understanding, this will be a whole multitude of different things, but there's going to be games that obviously you can interact with, but there's going to be these plazas that you can walk around and interact with things in the world. Right. You can actually access Disney Plus content within this, and
that makes sense.
And Bob Iger himself, I can't remember who it was, but someone like the big Disney dude actually himself said that, you know, you can do some of these things, and he's like, you know, you can buy things digitally, and he said in the future it would be interesting to even incorporate how to buy things in the game, but in real life, which I'm like, dude, I just watched Ready Player One.
Yeah.
You can use those points in the game to buy the X1 suit. It just reminded me of that. Though.
Yeah, well, and you know, it's in the end, of course, it's all about please spend your money. And you know, I think we'll see an influx of skins that you can purchase, and back blings and pickaxes and
Yeah.
guitars now, and cars, and they got all kinds of different ways they can get you to spend your money.
And like if you have like a Disney Plus subscription, like every month you can get like 1 or 2 skins.
Sure.
I don't know what.
And then on top of that, like they can build these experiences that you could walk around in. But for me though, I think for me the thing I would want the most out of this is some story content.
Yeah.
So let's have some episodic like story missions set in the Star Wars universe. I mean, why not? They literally could. They have the gameplay. They have lightsaber.
Oh yeah.
Like you already can, use force powers and use a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So just set it in a Star Wars world and add some like cinematics. And there you go.
Well, think about they when they was using Unreal Engine 5, that kind of first switch over, Epic had made some like experiences, like one of them being like this, like where you can interact with this dragon in this cave and stuff.
Yeah.
And I could easily see them making something like that on a much larger, more fleshed out scale, where, like you said, I mean, it's a kind of like a story where you can just go through and you play as this character and you're kind of going on this linear path and seeing these really cool things. Yeah, and here's the thing, and I think this is a very unique new opportunity to tell canon stories, because we have all of these mediums in which we get canon stories, right? Of course, we have movies. Of course, we have TV shows. But then we also have books. Then we also have comics and graphic novels.
Right.
And so this seems just kind of like a logical step in the way here, where it's not quite a movie, right? It's not quite necessarily a game, but it's somewhere in between. Yeah. And you can use that kind of narrative style of like a book or a comic, but bring it to life where you control the character. And I mean, I think that would be a very unique way that, like, once a month they publish a new canon story that you get to experience. You know what I'm saying? That could be interesting.
So there's a lot of cool ideas on where it could go. I think, this just happening, it'll probably be a while before we see the true outcome of this. Like skins and stuff could happen a lot sooner.
Oh yeah.
But like these interactive worlds or whatever we may get, I don't expect to necessarily see that anytime soon, because that stuff takes a while.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, Fortnite's around to stay. Fortnite's not going anywhere. It's only getting bigger in a sense, and it's finding ways to grab a hold of people that had no interest in it.
Sure. Yeah.
Because they're adding so many a variety of things that you can do. So if this thing doesn't catch your interest, maybe this will, and so on. So
yeah, I mean, I have to admit, like in the past month, I've played some Fortnite because they introduced that.
You've become a Fortniter.
Well, I don't say that, but they introduced that.
The
Lego Fortnite.
You're a Fortniter now.
Out. Okay. So they introduced that Lego Fortnite. I'm like, it's kind of like Minecraft, which I love Minecraft. I like Legos too growing up and stuff. And I'm like, I'll try it out. And so I played it and I actually had a lot of fun with it. I kind of, like usual with some of those like really open-ended games, I kind of stall out. Like, okay, I kind of like got really far into the game and I'm like, what do I do now?
Right.
But because I was already in Fortnite, I'm like, well, they have that Battle Royale and I played it when it very first came out. But when they started doing the building, I'm like, I'm not, But they released no build.
Zero build.
So zero build, And so I tried that. And I'm like, it's kind of fun. It's not bad.
Yeah, we played some together.
We played a few games together. So anyway, all that being said, I have to give Epic kudos on being able to adapt to the market. You know what I'm saying? And being able to bring in new, fresh ideas that is keeping the franchise alive. I mean, think about this though. Seriously, think about this. What other game in history has ever been like, hey, we're releasing this game and it's going to be valid for the next, 10 years? We got games like Destiny, like D1, that wanted to do that, and did it do it? Absolutely not. Now we have a D2, and now people don't even really play D2 anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, so the fact that Epic has kept Fortnite alive this long has been very impressive, and now we're getting off on a sideshow of Fortnite, so... let's rein it back in. But anyway, it is impressive. So this Disney thing is absolutely the next big huge step in this. So to see where that goes, time will only tell. So
sure. And the last thing I just want to throw out there about this is it happened because Bob Iger said that he was looking at like statistics and stuff, and he said that generation Z or whatever,
Gen Z, yeah.
Gen Z, they are spending just as much time, if not more time, on video games than they are on movies and
social
TV
media, stuff like that
and all
too.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So he was like, it only makes sense that if we're spending all this money on all these other
Might as well delve
things, we
into
might
this,
as well
yeah.
also commit and jump into video games.
No, yeah, I agree with
and
that.
so
yeah.
and so that was kind of the reason why he did it.
So-
It makes sense. So
Yeah.
I think we'll definitely keep an eye on this and report on, the Star Wars content that may come from this in the future. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So staying on that same track of Mr. Bobby Iger, Mr. Iger confirms that we're going to be getting a 2026 release of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So we talked about this a couple episodes ago when this was relatively new, and we were really kind of contemplating, when is this supposed to come? You know what I'm saying? Is this going to be the place of a season 4 or whatever? But yeah, now we're looking at a 2026 release.
Yeah. So we know there is on the calendar they have May 22nd, 2026 for Star Wars. Now they're saying that The Mandalorian Grogu is coming out in 2026. So that pretty much tells you it's in that slot, right? Now, I think, I can't remember when the next one is slotted. Do you remember? I don't even remember.
I have no clue.
I'd have to find that listing. Actually, I might be able to find it. Are we still? I think maybe something happened to our audio.
Testing. I mean, he's still showing up on the recording, so I don't know. I guess you'd know better than I would.
Sorry about that. Sorry I had to tap. I'm just making sure it's actually coming through my mic. I think it is. That was weird. Something weird happened there, but I think we're okay.
Guys, we're so professional.
Hey, I mean, I haven't had any kind of weird mess ups in a while, so like.
And then they'll podcast. Boom, 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 boom. Is this working? Boom, boom. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. So, anyways, the big question was, will it be this one or will it be the Rey movie that comes first? Whenever this was announced.
Yeah.
That was kind of the big question. It's looking like this is going to be the first one that we get now. And it's still, a good ways away.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfortunate. I know some people were kind of hoping that maybe there was a chance that this was going to come in 2025.
Yeah.
But that does not appear to be the case now, as Bob Iger confirms in their Q1 earning call that it is releasing in 2026. So it's still a long wait for a Star Wars movie, but I think we will all be extremely ready for it. When it comes.
Agree.
I think we're all going to be super excited.
So, well, we talked about this in the past. It's like, although we can love something a lot, like I was gonna go specific with the show, but even just like Star Wars in general, right? I feel like we got so much Star Wars in the past couple of years that we can almost get Star Wars out because there's just so much stuff. And I think having that break is really healthy for us to kind of recharge and stuff like that. And so, getting more specific, I think that was the way it was with Mando. Like, season 1 was just like groundbreaking. It was amazing. It was new. Season 2 blew our socks off. But then all of a sudden, season 3 was just kind of like, they got lost in the sauce a little bit, started bringing in like random celebrities, and they just started doing some weird stuff. And so it's like people kind of like, I don't know about this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think, having like a 3-year gap where we're just not getting anything Mando potentially, and then the next up is actually the big movie. I think that it makes sense.
Yeah, it could be exciting, and also, we haven't had a Star Wars movie since 2019, so
sure, yeah, exactly.
So, just the fact that we're getting another theater experience is going to be
pretty cool.
Is going to be a big thing for all of us.
Yeah,
for all of us Star Wars fans. So, definitely looking forward to that. But let's go ahead and move on to our next story, and our next story is that Ubisoft commits to Star Wars Outlaws in 2024. So Ubisoft have their financials for the third quarter of its current fiscal year, and it outlined what it can expect from this year and the early part of 2025. And they committed to launching Star Wars Outlaws in 2024, which means that would mean it would come out before the end of December.
Yeah.
So they had already said that they were expecting Star Wars Outlaws to be in 2024, but this is kind of showing the confidence behind that, because a lot of times they can release a date but then push it back, and that happens, a lot, right?
Yeah.
And to be honest, I was kind of in a state of expecting this to probably get pushed.
Yeah, I did too.
And I think it's still possible, but the fact that they're in their financials, they're saying they're committed to launching this in 2024 means it's kind of feels more official and possible that we're truly getting this year. Now, I will say we've yet to see a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I should be concerned or if they really have that much that just haven't shown us yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think as we head into the summer, we'll see more. And I expect this to be a fall release.
I can see that, but I think they really need to start their marketing campaign like as soon as possible.
Definitely.
Because if this is going to be a big game, which I know that they're wanting it to be, which we're all kind of hoping it to be, right?
Oh, sure.
But you can't just write on the fact that it's Star Wars. As we can see, big name companies, big name titles can really fall by the wayside if there's not really a good marketing campaign and people don't know about it. Because you can be a Star Wars fan, but if you don't really know what's happening and you're not super in the scene and it just kind of comes out and no one really knows, you know what I'm saying, it can easily fall by the wayside.
Or if it's just not very good.
Or if it's not very good. That's another thing too.
Yeah, it's like
I don't want to consider that.
It's not most of us gamers these days aren't like fooled by like they used to try to just hey, it's this large IP, come and buy it no matter what. But it's like, a lot of us know we can find reviews and we can find information
right
before we make that purchase. And so, a big named title doesn't automatically sell like crazy. You can
just because it's a big name.
Just because it's a big name.
Yeah.
A perfect example of that is just this past week was a release of a new DC game, The Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
Yeah.
Which has the Justice League in it, which of course is a large IP, right?
Sure.
And but it's not doing so hot. And why is that? Because the reviews were bad.
And really, though, they did not have a great marketing campaign on that either, though. Like, it was out there, but it wasn't really, like, pushed. It wasn't, like, constantly, like, hey, get ready for this, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And so, they've got to make sure that they really market this correctly and make sure people understand what it is and make sure that it is and make sure it's good, because I want this to succeed. I want at the end of the year, I would love for us to be talking about the potential of this being game of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that'd be amazing.
Now, in our gaming league, I don't have it, so part of me doesn't want to succeed just because of that. But every other part of me of being a gamer and a Star Wars, that would be Mickey.
Mickey, what a smart lad!
Right,
What a smart young
rascal.
lad! Yeah,
Well, honestly,
we have a gaming fantasy league, so
Well,
it's like football, but it's for video games
We're
instead.
such losers.
And so you pick titles, and based on their review scores, and so it's a lot of fun. We have fun with it.
Yeah.
But
Andrew more than most, but anyways, he cheats because he's a proprietor. So anyway,
I have one every single year
because he does cheat though.
but
So
I have not cheated.
he does. But anyway, so and that's the thing. I had the chance of picking this game, and I'll be honest with you, I was so confident that it was going to be pushed to 2025. I didn't pick it.
I didn't pick it either, because, well, one, not sure if it'll come out this year.
Yeah.
Second, we still haven't seen enough of it.
Exactly.
I'm not confident that this game is going to be, an amazing hit until I see more of it.
Right.
We've only seen one gameplay trailer.
Yeah. We need some more trailers. We need some gameplay.
And even a bad
drop,
game can have a good looking gameplay trailer.
Come on. Yeah. They can sit there and like mess with that for an hour, or a couple hours a day for a year.
Right.
So anyway, we'll see if that truly does happen. We're excited for that to be the case, and fingers crossed. So, moving on, this is actually a pretty big one here. And before we get into this, we do just want to state that we're not really picking sides here, who's right, who's wrong. But this is a big thing that's happening within the realm of Disney and Star Wars. So we do want to at least talk about it because, people have a right to know information, right? So
That's what we do around here.
that's right. We provide the information. You guys provide the opinions, right? That's not true. We always have opinions, but we don't always say it. But anyway, that being said, Gina Carano. Some of you may remember her. And she comes from season 1 of Mando. And
And season 2.
Oh, was she in season 2?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She was in both.
Well, shows me I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so plays Cara Dune.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you guys may remember, she was unfortunately fired from her position, from her role with Disney for different reasons. But come to find out here just recently, Gina Carano is now suing Disney with the help of none other than Elon Musk of all people. So I guess you could even say on a broader scale with the help of X. This is kind of a wild story here. Of course, Gina believes that, she was kind of unfairly separated from her position due to, I think, maybe some of her political standings. And therefore, she's been wanting to sue. But, going up against Disney is a kind of a lofty endeavor, especially in the monetary sense. And so Elon Musk with X.com says that he will back her financially if that is what she wants to do. And she is committed to doing so. So, yeah.
Yeah, and some of the remedies that she's seeking includes being rehired to play Cara Dune with no loss of pay or benefits, in addition to 2 forms of compensation damages, back pay she missed out on as a result of her firing to the date of reinstatement, and compensation for future employment, including her promised role in Rangers of the New Republic, which someone needs to tell her that they got rid of that one.
That's off the books. So, hey, Gina, if you were listening to our podcast, you would know.
You would know that they already decided not to do that one.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I do think a big part of that was the fact that one of their headliners was no longer with them anymore. But yeah, still off the books.
So, there's a lot here. She's getting funded by Elon Musk because Elon Musk went on a campaign saying that he would fund anyone who. How did he put it? Let's see here.
Well, and before you give that, I do want to say some of this context was because actually Disney pulled all of their advertising from X.com.
Yeah.
And so that kind of started the rivalry between Elon and Disney. Yeah. So now kind of having these people who are feel like they're unjustly separated, he's going to support them.
He said he would fund any legal action for X/Twitter users who faced workplace discrimination because of their activity on the social media platform. Yeah. And so the reason Gina Carano was fired from Disney was because of comments she made on Twitter. Yeah. So that's how she has got her funding from Elon Musk. Now, here's what I'll say about it from my view. I think that her being fired from Disney because of the comments she made is, in my opinion, kind of silly. Mm-hmm. Because, unless someone's threatening to go, shoot up a place or threatening violence or yes. Something of that nature. Yeah. If it's not that, then I think we have free speech and you can say what you want.
Now, I will say a lot of the arguments against that were the fact that, well, yes, but you are willingly being employed by an entity who is saying that you can't say certain things. So, but I would come back to that and say, well, at the end of the day, it's still free speech. Again, as long as there's no harm or threat of violence, and she is not saying that it's in conjunction or connection with that entity, then how can you say that? Because that's a slippery slope right there, where any employer then can say, well, we can separate you based off of what you say in your own private time, which I do think, unfortunately, that is a slope that's already been slipped, and companies do that a lot. I know there's two guys that I've seen online. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but they had made some YouTube videos years ago, and they was working for a marketing firm. And in their videos, they didn't even make a political stance. They had said like some curse words, and their HR department said that they're going to fire them because they found these videos. You know what I'm saying? So it is a slippery slope. It's dangerous. Regardless of what you believe about the position, right?
Right. And so she claimed that she was consistently twisted to demonize and dehumanize her as an alt-right wing extremist. And it was a bullying smear campaign aimed at silencing, destroying, and making an example out of me. So, yeah, I think from Disney's side, it is a slippery slope there. And, no matter how I feel about that, I will say, at the same time as I think there is free speech, I'm also like, come on, like, you're in Star Wars. You have this platform to say whatever you want, and a lot of people are gonna see it. Maybe don't say dumb stuff.
Right. Now,
and she was kind of going off on some rants, and it's like, maybe just don't do that if you're gonna be in such a big role, and if you want to, and that who you're employed for doesn't really like that. Like, I mean, she kind of put herself in that now, and and that's her right. She can totally do that. But I see both sides, I guess.
We're not trying to pick a side. We're just trying to provide both sides.
Right.
Because here's the thing: if going off of what you just said, she did have a few rants, but there's many people who believe that what she said was not nearly as egregious as what people were saying she was saying. And I think that was part of why she felt so dissed, is like, if you said some horrible things about supporting Nazis or something, that would be one thing. But, what she said she didn't feel was that bad, but people were saying that, that all these things, right? And I'm not going to go into that, right? But my point is that many people, of course, her being the primary person, didn't feel like what she said didn't feel like it fit with the egregious nature that they were claiming.
Sure.
So again, yes, we're looking at both sides here, we're not necessarily saying who's right, who's wrong, but we are saying that this is what is happening right now, and it is a pretty big thing that may or may not change some things.
Yeah, but we talked about it when it first happened, but I will say again, I'd be happy to see her back.
Yeah, sure.
I think
excluding the person, the character was
the character was
right?
interesting. I had even said if they don't bring her back, they might as well recast her. So that they still have that character. They hadn't done that yet, but either way, I think that Cara Dune should totally still be in the universe in some way. I don't think that, even if they don't like her as an actress, I don't see any reason why we can't continue to have this character in the universe, even if it's recasted. I don't think that that Gina Carano is such a stain on this universe that they can't even
have the
character whatsoever, in my opinion. But so let's go ahead and move on to our last story for today, and that is that the Bad Batch season 3 dropped its first trailer. Ooh. Now, this did drop a little bit ago, but we still wanted to talk about it because it did happen since our last episode. And so most of you who care have probably already watched this. But when they showed the trailer, it did give us the official date, release date, which is February 21st.
And this will actually be a triple premiere, as they're going to be airing their first 3 episodes at the very beginning. So that's kind of an interesting choice.
Yeah. Also cool. I like that. It's 15. The new season's 15 episodes long. It is the last season.
Yeah.
I think that it's probably the reason there's 3 in a row. It's probably like a whole arc, I would assume, probably. kind of like how Clone Wars would have like sometimes 2 or 3 episode arcs.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
assume
yeah.
that's kind of what they're doing here with that,
Yeah.
and why they're airing all 3 at the same time. Because I believe there's a couple other. It showed the release dates. Yeah. There's a couple other ones that that air 2 episodes in 1 week. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So we've said it many times. We're not huge fans of the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
We watch it, and we even review them. We've done that, and we'll probably do it this time too. But it's never been. We've never been like super invested in it or
Right.
anything. But we will be talking about it, and there is some big things in this that we're gonna go. So we're gonna kind of just go over some of the things that really stood out. One of the things that stood out to me most about this trailer is actually something that we see towards the end of the trailer. I don't know if there's anything in specific you want to talk about with the trailer.
There's basically one. So right there, stop right there. So one thing that's pretty interesting, just in terms of character development. First of all, this season does seem to have a more serious tone to it, which if I
remember right, season 2 they kind of tricked us into that
had that
too.
feeling too, and then there's like an episode about like racing and bad racer dudes. Or something.
Yeah, trust me, I want it to be a more serious tone and really just get into this season, but I don't have much hope for that.
Yeah, with the what am I trying to say? With the can't think what I'm trying to say. With it being the finale, you would imagine that it would kind of like really take a more story heavy approach and try to finish the arc up for all of these characters. But we'll see. But in that, as we see in some of the parts of the episode, there is already some cool, interesting character development that we're able to observe, such as Crosshair. He's kind of in line with all the other Imperial dudes, and you can tell he's just like kind of depressed, right? Like he realizes now. And I can't really say this to the full fact, but to some degree, it looks like he's like realizing he's made a mistake. Like he's realizing that his decisions of loyalty has led him down a path to a side that he no longer feels like supports him and what he believes. Right. And so he's seen what his brothers in arms has had to go through and stuff. So that's already kind of interesting. I'm interested to see how they fully flesh out Crosshair's development there. But of course, there's a bigger thing at the end that we're all very interested in.
Yeah, and we do see, the Dr. Hemlock guy at this Mount Tantus, which they're doing a lot of like research and stuff, and it continues to seem like they're hinting at cloning, some special cloning stuff going on, where I think there's a good chance this might all kind of connect into the Mandalorian / the sequel trilogy.
Yeah,
I still think they're trying to kind of make some connections there with that stuff, and one of the reasons I think that is we do see Emperor Palpatine at one point.
Yeah.
And he says there's nothing of greater importance to secure the future of this empire. Whatever is needed to accomplish this goal, you will have it. So, what is there that would be of greater importance to secure the future?
Yeah, not much, right? Other than him getting cloned and continuing the
ability to continue, going on if no matter what. So I think it definitely seems to be hinting at that, which I think could be really cool if they continue to
truly flesh that out.
And give us some information.
Good story,
yeah. So that could be really cool. So I'm excited to see some of that stuff. We do see Fennec Shand is back in this. We see Cad Bane.
Yeah, that was cool.
Which always cool to see Cad Bane. So I'm excited about that. We see what else do we see?
Chopper.
We see we do see Omega's got like a new look. Got a new haircut and stuff.
She's got that beware oh manager
yeah
haircut. Yeah.
What else? I think it's probably just the next big thing is what we got here. Yeah. So the biggest thing of all, and the one that I really want to talk about here, is that we see Asajj Ventress. So there's a lot of reasons why this is
Yeah.
kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
Number one, Asajj Ventress, very popular character from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
She was a Sith apprentice to Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Fun fact for you, the scar on Anakin's face is from her. So she basically, throughout the Clone Wars, and her story ended in Star Wars Dark Disciple,
I was about to say
which
that.
is a book.
Yeah.
Fantastic book, by the way. You should read it, especially now because of this. You should definitely go read it. But basically, we see her turn from this super just angsty, angry Sith to actually, like a free agent, like
Gray Jedi.
yeah, definitely those like gray Jedi vibes. I would not necessarily say she is like a light side like Jedi. I wouldn't call her a Jedi.
Yeah.
In all reality, but she is a better person than she was, right?
Yeah. So, and that's all we can do.
Yeah.
That's
And
all-
then in the end, well, yeah, I guess I'm going to spoil it. So spoilers for Dark Disciple. If you don't want to be spoiled, then you're going to want to skip ahead. But Count Dooku kills her in Dark
wow.
Disciple. So here's where things get really interesting with this. This story
Yeah, it's after Dooku's
is-
dead, right?
after her death in Dark Disciple.
Yeah. So I mean, either there's
So-
some crazy thing going on, or they're saying Dark Disciple is no longer canon.
Well, so the writers had this to say about it. The supervising director and executive producer. This is what he said. He said, "We don't want to spoil anything, but want fans to know that any new storytelling with Ventress will align with the events of Star Wars Dark Disciples."
Okay. Well, and here's the thing too. I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but one element could be it's kind of like a flashback where they're doing something or whatever, and they come across Ventress. I don't know.
Yeah, so I had a couple of thoughts. One is that it could be a flashback. So we're seeing they found a way to bring her in, but it's prior to the events of Dark Disciple, right?
Yeah.
So that is a big. There's probably a really big chance that's actually the case, right? Because that's just what makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But there is also another couple of things. One, they could. I mean, Star Wars has done it before. Just because someone looked really dead doesn't necessarily mean they have to be. And they
Yeah,
could just, come
that's
up with,
true.
oh, well, she was still like barely holding on, and they, whatever.
Yeah.
Or, now this is where it gets really crazy, but, maybe it's a clone.
Well, and that's been a huge theme of Bad Batch, right?
Right,
Is that
right.
that the cloning technologies in production? Well, I mean, obviously cloning has already been a thing, but you know what I'm saying. But the cloning of force sensitivity and things of that nature has been a big theme of going into the sequels. Yeah, I mean that's definitely a possibility. Now,
Yeah, I mean,
how
I
that would
think-
work out and why that would be a
Right,
good
and that's
question.
where I think it's very, very minimal chance of that being the case.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there,
But that would be
but I
cool. That
don't,
would be cool.
I don't think that's it. Again, I think most likely it's a flashback.
Yeah.
Why they need her in a flashback, what's the story purpose of all of that? I don't know,
Yeah.
but I think that's what would make the most sense. However, if they found a way to have her back, I actually would be excited about that because I think it would be cool to continue that character past her
Yeah.
death because when she dies, it's technically before Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting opportunities.
a lot of interesting opportunities
to
there
see where that goes.
to see. Yeah, and so very excited. That's actually the thing I'm excited to see about this series.
Oh
so
yeah,
far.
easily.
And also, if it does start to connect to some of the other series and movies and stuff. So yeah, this last season will probably be the most I'm intrigued by
Yeah.
the Bad Batch, just because it's going to be wrapping up. So it's like they kind of have to, show us the goods, right?
Yeah.
So to speak. So
Hopefully not. I don't know.
so that we gotta kind of really end this in a big way. hopefully,
Yeah.
and not kind of fall flat. So, yeah, I mean, I'll be pretty excited. And actually, Braxton, our next episode that we do will be our review of the 3 first episodes.
Yeah.
So, February 22nd
Very
would
nice.
be our next Jedi Eternal episode.
Yeah.
As you guys know, we've been doing we try
We
we
try
try to
to.
do them every other week. Unless there's like a show we really want to review episodes for. We'll have to have that discussion when it comes
Yeah.
out and see if
Yeah.
we're interested enough to like review.
Yeah. And once we
weekly.
watch the first 3 episodes,
And,
we'll kind of.
and I don't know. We might
want.
want to do that. We may not. We may do like 2 reviews at a time on them.
Yeah.
Every other week. We'll see.
Well,
But yeah, you'll definitely want to stick around for that. But that is the end of our news. So I think we're pretty much wrapping up here. But before we do, I know Braxton does have an answer for us.
Well,
to
before we even do that, we have community discussion.
I completely forgot about community discussion.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Whoa. It's because last
couple times we haven't done it.
Yeah,
Because it's like the first episode
Yeah.
back, and there's not a lot of
yeah,
content.
yeah. No,
so, like,
I'm
let's not worry
excited.
about it. But-
Tell me
let's
what
do
we got
this.
here. What we got?
So, so we're going to go into our community discussion portion before we end out today. And that is, if you're not familiar with that, is where we ask all of you a question, and then we discuss all of the answers live on air. So this week's community discussion question is, after hearing the tentative lineup of Star Wars projects in 2024 from our last episode, what are you looking forward to most? Also, is there anything that you hope gets announced throughout the year? So, first of all, Corey Allen Wise comes in and says that he is very excited about the Mando movie, and he thinks it should be pretty good. So he's looking forward to that. Unfortunately, Corey, we now realize that it is going to be 2 years from now. but I know that was kind of like on the chopping block of what was actually going to end up coming. So anyway, there's a lot of good things coming on that. So hopefully it turns out pretty good. We'll see. So Noah Aguilar comes in, and Noah, it is good to hear from you, man. We haven't heard from you for a while, so hopefully you are doing well. But Noah Aguilar comes in and says, hoping to hear when Andor will be released. I'm hoping end of the year, but we'll wait for 2025. I trust Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna. And yeah, I mean, that is something that is kind of surprising that we haven't heard more about. Like I said, as we go through the year, I wouldn't be surprised if we do hear some sort of announcement for like probably 2025 if I had to guess. But yeah, well, I guess time will only tell on that one.
Yeah, shout out to Noah. He was the first person that we realized were listening to us when we started.
Yeah,
this.
that was not friends
that
and
was
family.
not like friends and family. We're like, whoa, wait, this is like an actual person,
random person we
that,
don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
shout out. It's good to see you.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We hope you're doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, then, hey, another great listener is Josh and Bergenshaw, JB.
Oh
And
man, JB.
last but
from
not least,
the good old UK.
from the UK.
UK, JB. We love you, JB.
Like the Beatles. You know what? I'm not even going to go there. JB, I'm not going to butcher your accent. Which, I mean, anyway. So,
You have a beautiful accent, though.
I'm sure JB has a beautiful
No,
accent.
we know he does. We've
Oh, yeah,
talked to
he was
him.
on the live stream.
he was
Never
on our
mind,
live stream. By the way, we need to do another live stream
Yeah.
sometime. I know you guys
Yeah.
like those, and we haven't done one in a while. So,
Yeah, I want to hear JB's beautiful voice again.
I also want to hear JB's beautiful.
Talk
British
sultry to
accent.
me in your English accent. Anyway, all right. So our last answer for today comes from Mr. JB, and he says, "Looking forward to the Acolyte and Andor, an unpopular opinion, but also looking forward to the Bad Batch. Haha." And on a side note, been rewatching Sopranos and seen a couple of episodes with the one and only Jon Favreau in it. Is there anything this God amongst men has not been in? Looking forward to the next episode, guys. So a lot to unpack there. But first of all,
Yeah.
JB, thank you for the comment. We appreciate your loving kindness towards us.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, Acolyte and Andor. You know what I'm saying? For Andor, I wasn't personally the hugest fan of this first season, just for my own personal reasons. I thought the show itself was technically really good, but for my own personal reasons. But I am actually looking forward a lot to the second season, much more so. And we've talked about that in the past, so I'm not going to dive into it. But yeah, Acolyte is another one I'm very much looking forward to. But I've never seen The Sopranos, and that is one show. Ironically, it's funny that you bring that up. I was actually just recently wanting to start watching. But yes, Jon Favreau is in a ton of stuff. Like,
yeah, he's legend.
He's all over the place. So
yeah, imagine being in Star Wars and the MCU both. Like that's that alone is quite the feat.
Yeah.
You know?
So very impressive. But hey, last but not least, though, I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for answering these questions. Like I said, I know it's been a big hiatus since we've really had a community discussion, so it's good to hear from you guys.
So what is your answer to that?
Honestly, I would have to say probably the Acolyte really is probably my biggest one.
well.
Yeah, there's just so much potential to that.
There's so much potential.
I do have my fears about that
me too.
In terms of the director and things, but in terms of the actual premise of what it is, there's a lot of really cool things that could be in that. So
yeah, I want it to be good so bad, and I want to know when it's coming out. Because like that's the thing is like we know there are things coming. We know there's Andor. We know there is Skeleton Crew. There's the Acolyte, and there is Tales of the Jedi Season 2, and there's Andor. Did I ever say Andor?
Yeah.
Ahsoka Season 2.
Yeah.
We know all these things are coming, but like we don't know.
It's just this nebulous spot where like what are the actual times and dates and things. Yeah.
I don't even necessarily have to know the exact date, but give me like a season.
Yeah, is it the fall?
Like
summer,
like
or
summer,
the
fall, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of antsy to know like when this stuff, because I'm kind of afraid because of the strikes that like none of it's coming this year.
Yeah.
I know they're saying that stuff's gonna come, but like the longer we go without any kind of information. Now I will say, May the 4th is coming. You know, obviously.
Yeah.
So before you know it, May the 4th will be here, and we usually get
some sort of announcement.
Some sort of announcement plus like a shadow drop of some kind, like
some bigger thing.
Kind of.
It's been
like,
in the past. It's been the final season of Clone Wars. Last year it was Bad Batch, and then
so we don't know anything this year, but maybe something's coming out then.
Yeah.
I can't.
We'll see.
I don't know. Also, there is the Super Bowl coming up this weekend.
That's true, and that
it would
that
be
very
a great
easily
time
could be,
to drop a Star Wars trailer.
Yeah, which if all of them, I could probably see the Acolyte being it, or maybe Andor Season 2. I don't know.
I think it would be the Acolyte.
Yeah,
but as far as I know, the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew are the two most completed shows right now. Andor Season 2, last time I checked, was still in production.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think we're getting Andor this year.
Sure. And I was going to say another thing that could very well be too at Super Bowl is Outlaws. So I mean, we could maybe see something about Outlaws for that too. Sure. So you never know.
You never know with the Super Bowl. It's always a potential to throw out something big because since it's one of the most viewed things of the year,
the biggest press opportunity.
So there is potential there. Usually we hear a rumor about it if there is going to be something.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard any rumors.
Yeah.
But
kind of jarring.
Still, could be a surprise.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, 2024 has so far been a really weird year when it comes to releases. There's a lot of stuff being talked about, but no solid dates.
Yeah, and again, a lot of that's still because of like dealing with the strikes that happened.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Things are going to be kind of spaced out, and really, it's that way with not just Star Wars, but even like Marvel. The MCU only has one movie this year, which is wild. Which is wild, right?
Yeah, which is probably a good thing.
Good thing. They clearly needed to like take a step back
and
but there's it's just Deadpool this year, which is really insane.
Yeah. Which I mean, that's a pretty good one though.
I mean, that's going to be I would assume is going to be a huge movie.
It's the first Disney movie to get its own Red Band trailer, so
so there you go.
that's a positive. I'm not going to go into that any further. But
how many children are going to go see that movie? I wonder. But anyway.
There's a lot of jokes I'm just not saying now.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, we'll see what happens in 2024. Before we have Andrew end off with us today, I do want to give you our trivia answer for the week. And the question was, to refresh your memory, which planet did the Death Star manage to destroy with its super laser? And the answer is Princess Leia's home planet, Alderaan. What a sad, sad scene. But
now I want to know who got that right without cheating.
Because I was gonna say, I hope you guys didn't cheat, and we'll Like we said last week, hunt you down if you did.
Now, I will say, I think for a lot of you big Star Wars fans, that one's a pretty easy one.
Yeah. Well, you better have some answers in that chat. That's all I'm saying.
I think you should probably be able to get that one. Just saying.
So anyway, Andrew, lead us off.
We want to thank everyone so much for the continued support, and we look forward to hearing from you all soon. We also want to thank our good friends Galactic Empire for allowing us to use their music for our intro and outro. We thank them so much for that. It's really kind of them, and it's awesome sounding, so it makes us sound really cool. So we thank them for that. But please like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We try to post news there when it happens, if we remember, and of course our discussions are on there. And please also follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Leave a review if you haven't. That we would really appreciate that. Share it with your friends. And also, make sure that you join us in 2 weeks for our next episode, where we are going to review the first 3 episodes of the final season of The Bad Batch. So that'll be a good one for you guys to join in on. Make sure also, if you haven't yet, to join that Patreon for only $5.
Do it.
That's it. Only $5. We think it's worth it. I think some of you listeners think it's worth it. So if you do think it's worth it, go out there, share it to the world. Tell your friends and family. We greatly appreciate it. But last but not least, may the Force be with you, and we thank you for joining the Jedi Eternal.